Whenever I record alone, I'm so quiet. And when I record with people, I'm just screaming. So here we go.
Hey, let's talk.
Okay. I Whenever I do these alone, I feel so awkward. But I'm in my childhood bedroom and I just warned my parents that I'm recording a podcast. I feel like I'm 12. Um, anyway, welcome back to Collective Sound. We are returning to our roots today, and it's just me for the episode. No special guest. Well, I do have a special guest at the end, which is really, really, really cute. So make sure you stay tuned to the end. But it is currently December. 2020 is almost over, which thank the literal Lord. This year was something. And I think we can all relate on that. And I just wanted to do like a final episode of the year just to kind of wrap things up for what we could call this like season one of Collective Sound. This has been such an incredible opportunity for me and outlet for me to talk to people that I've never met, that I'm really good friends with, that I haven't talked to in years, all types of things like that about what they do, what they love, reminisce on, crazy things and just things I haven't thought about in a really long time, and have some really, really, really interesting, like, intellectual conversations, and also learn a lot about what my friends do, which is crazy. And thank you to personally to the whoever's listening to this for listening, which is crazy. I like did not expect people to actually listen to this, and that's probably just my like self-deprecating self saying that, but I really didn't, and people are listening and enjoying, which is crazy and so awesome. So thank you for listening. Really, it means so much to me, and I love talking to people about it. I feel really weird about promoting it, so that's been a struggle, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Self care. Anyway, so 2020, what a strange year for the whole world. I went into this year in kind of a strange place to begin with, just a really transitional phase of my life and a lot of change and reflection, I guess. And then that just didn't change. We hit quarantine like what? In March? I started this a couple months later, and life's just been crazy since. I am so blessed to have had a consistent job this entire year, and I'm so thankful for that. But it was the craziest work year of my life in like really awesome ways. I got to work on some really, really cool projects, but also just, you know, working in digital marketing in 2020 was quite an adventure. Just how the whole world shifted to digital marketing in a way, just because, artists couldn't play shows and you access music digitally. Anyway, this is a tangent that I don't need to be going on. Anyway, weird year. I'm really excited for 2021. I think a lot of exciting things are in store. And I'm trying to see hope in the new year because this year was really not fun. But with all that being said, there has been so much good music this year. And so I thought for my last episode of Collective Sound, which, yes, this is the last one of 2020, I kind of need to give myself a break for the holidays so I can save the little bit of sanity I have left. So this is going to be the last episode, but then they will pick right back up in January. So for this episode, I thought I would go through my top 20 songs that were released in 2020. And these are in no particular order. These are just songs I feel like for a lot of people, music was so important anytime, but especially this year with just the year we've had with, coronavirus and quarantine and all that stuff. And music really kept me company this year. I've really loved a lot of music that's come out of this year. So I thought I would go through my top 20 songs, say a little thing or two about each one and, just keep the episode a little short and sweet. I am making a playlist of these songs and we'll have a link to that on the Collective Sound Instagram. So if you feel so inclined and would like to listen to them, or go back and reference anything that I said or any songs I referenced on this podcast, feel free to go to collective.sound on Instagram and there will be a link in the bio with a playlist of these songs. And they were my favorites of the year. They're kind of all over the place. And yeah, so don't judge, but I feel like this is the Collective Sound version of Spotify Wrapped for this year, which my Spotify Wrapped was goofy. 4 of my top 5 songs were John Lewis. Love you, John. I feel like this year my Spotify activity was just crazy because I was just going back to like comfort music. So John's album was a big one of those. And then it was a lot of like Taylor Swift and One Direction. And honestly, I have no shame. So anyway, this is about to be my version of my Spotify Wrapped for Collective Sound. So this is my top 20 songs that were released in 2020 in no particular order. Number 1, I'm really starting it off by cheating. Number 1 is Golden by Harry Styles. I know this was released in 2019, but it was December of 2019. So I'm just gonna clump that into 2020 because this album I listened to so much this year and I love Harry Styles with every ounce of my being. So I had to include him in there. So Golden by Harry Styles really puts me in the best mood. I would say Fine Line, the album's great, but the song Fine Line is a close second. That one really gets me in my feels, but Golden makes me want to get in my car, roll down the windows and just drive around aimlessly, kind of like I was in high school, just be a dumb teenager, or maybe be on a beach, or all the above. I don't know, but number 1 has to be Golden by Harry Styles. And number 2 is Everything I Need by John Lewis. As I was saying before, John's album was, every single song on this album was in my top 100 songs on Spotify this year. And it's funny because it went in order because I would just start the album and then sometimes I wouldn't finish it. And if you guys haven't heard that episode, John and his producer / co business partner, whatever you want to say, Benjamin, came on the podcast. It was one of the early episodes and it was really, really interesting. That episode was really fun. And so if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to that episode because they really dive into the album and talk about the recording process and writing process and all of that. So Everything I Need is just the perfect mix of pop punk that I would scream in the car with my roommates. This is our go-to song that we listen to on our way to Wendy's late at night between Vampire Diary episodes. So thank you, John Lewis, for being such a big anthem for my roommates and I this year, and for me. I really love that album and I'm not going to stop listening to it. So maybe it'll, be in my 2021. Well, that wouldn't really work, but anyway, I know John's working on some new music, so everyone should make sure to follow him so you don't miss any of it. Next would be Cool by Dua Lipa. Now, Dua Lipa is my girl. I love her so much. She is one of the only people I've ever met in person that I was genuinely starstruck. I literally just stared at her because she's so beautiful and she's so tall. And I just stared at her and couldn't even speak, which is so embarrassing. So I love her so much. But Cool by Dua Lipa, I think would have been my Hot Girl Summer song. But unfortunately, I don't think anyone had a Hot Girl Summer this summer, which is so unfortunate. But, I'll be saving it for next summer. But this whole album is just such pop brilliance and cool. I listened to so much this summer. I would go on a bunch of walks in Nashville and I just remember driving back from my 8-mile long walks because I was so bored out of my mind and I would just blast the song on repeat. So thanks to Alipa, love you. Thanks for being a part of my 2020. So the next song is also a classic for this year. So this next one I've definitely listened to an excessive amount in 2020, but it has to be If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know by the 1975. Oh, they just popped off with this song. Like they really did. And it just kind of puts me in like a movie scene. I feel like I'm in a movie and like a teenager and just like running around aimlessly. Like if my life was a coming of age movie, this song would play as like my friends and I jumped into Belmont's fountain late at night and ran through the sprinklers, and then like the camera pans out into the sky and you just see us like rolling around in the grass. Maybe? Thoughts? Anyone want to pick up that movie script? Anyway, that's what the song makes me feel, and it's just a bop and just makes me feel good. So thank you, the 1975, for that good one. Another song that feels like it's in that same realm is Teenage Headache Dream by Muramasa. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But this song, if my life became a coming of age movie, this would be the title track, or would be the main track of the movie. This song makes me feel like that scene in Perks of Being a Wallflower when they stand up in the truck and go through the tunnel. Ugh, this song's so good. And this album that this was on, I wish I remembered the name of it. I think it's RYC, but I might be making that up. This whole album is so good and super unique and not the type of music I would typically listen to. It feels more electronic, but it just makes me feel good. So that one really came in clutch. That was really like beginning of the year, kind of before we hit quarantine, and I was living like my best life for like 2.5 months. But that song was definitely it. And this next one, I should have counted these, but I can't. I'm a little too late for that one. But Dion by the Japanese House featuring Justin Vernon or Bon Iver. I don't know who it is, but it's Justin Vernon's voice. But oh my gosh, this song, the Japanese House and Bon Iver are two of my favorite artists of all time. So when this song came out, I lost it, to say the least. And so this was like honestly a dream collab for me. And also just the song itself is so incredible, and musically, just the vibe the Japanese house music is the vibe it gives off. I don't know. It's really beautiful, and it's something that I can just always listen to, like kind of in the background. I listen to a lot while I'm working. But then when you dive in deeper and really get into the lyrics, oh my, they like stab me in the heart. There's one line from this song that goes, "Wishing that somebody would film the way I'm looking at you right now. I want to watch it back and then kill myself. I know it's not very sexy when somebody loves you this much and knows you this well, but it is the way it is." What? Like what? Oh, that's so good. Just the line, "I know it's not very sexy when someone loves you this much and knows you this well." Like, wow. Ugh, that just like hits the, you know, that string in my heart that's like, ooh, vulnerability, scary. Anyway, that song has been a big one this year. I think that was like number 6 of my most listened to songs this year. And next I have Over the Ocean Call by Lizzie McAlpine. And Lizzie is someone I found on TikTok this year. She had this song about she wrote this like little song about the 1975 that kind of went viral. And so I found her there and I was like, wow, this girl is so amazing. She's just a really incredible songwriter. And so I like did a deep dive, and she came out with an album this year called Give Me a Minute that is unbelievable. Her songwriting is just so good and just really makes me feel things. So she's a song on there called Over the Ocean Call that I cried a lot to this year, to this song. But it's really beautiful and it has really honest lyrics, and really how she writes music makes you feel like you're taking a look into her life, if that makes sense. But also not too specifically that you're like, wow, I can totally relate to that as well. So that song is just, a little real relatable for Isabel, but also just so beautifully written. So Over the Ocean Call by Lizzie McAlpine, so good. And along the lines of songs that made me cry this year, Make It Stop by Coin. The amount of times I've cried to this song, this song only came out like a couple months ago, and the amount of times I've cried to this song is embarrassing. There's a line in this song that goes, "The universe won't wait for broken hearts and shooting stars, and I keep running in circles and I can't make it stop." And that song just like hit me really hard the first time I listened to it. And I think especially in this year of 2020 when life kind of felt like it went on pause for a minute at the beginning of quarantine when we were all like, "Oh, it'll be a couple weeks, like awesome, we'll coop up in our houses, I won't go to work." And then suddenly now it's December, and just this really weird feeling of I feel like life is flying by and I can't do anything to stop it. And I can't really do anything right now except, work and stay safe and protect my friends and wear a mask, which is great. And I really want everyone to do that so life can get back to normal eventually. But the song just, I don't know, it just really hit me in that sense, and also in like a, oh, I'm actually growing up and I'm an adult now, and that kind of, I don't know, it just hit me for a lot of different reasons. And there's this like the song is really simple, like the first two thirds, and then all of a sudden, and it follows the same kind of melody, and then all of a sudden, like two thirds of the way through, it has this like beat drop, and I don't know what it is, but every time that happens, I just like get complete full body chills. Like it just, I don't know, it just, the beat goes so well with the lyrics that happen at the time, and it's so good. That is also such a good song to listen to in the car when I go on my like aimless drives. So Make It Stop by Coin, thank you for being my song I cry to this year. I just realized that I wrote these out without numbers, and I don't think I counted how many that I had. So we're just gonna do my list. There might be more than 20 songs here. um, but next would, I mean, I can't have a list of my favorite songs released in 2020 and not put this song, but Exile by Taylor Swift and Bon Iver. Again, a dream collaboration for me. If, and like this song they dropped, they literally, the whole album Taylor just dropped like a surprise, no lead up, no nothing. And if I would have known this song was coming out, I don't think I would be able to function properly for a couple months. So I'm kind of glad it came at a surprise, but still, even though it was a surprise, really, my gut, like the noises I made the first time I heard the song, scary. But a dream collab that I never thought would happen. So, first of all, thank you. Like, thank you, Taylor Swift and Bon Iver, for making that happen. Justin Vernon, we love you. I love you both so much. I love them both. But I also love the line, and it's so simple. Like this, I don't know, this is such a simple line, but I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore. So good. Anyway, so yeah, that one really came from my throat this year. And just on, if you don't see the pattern yet, the first like 5 songs of this list were like, ooh, fun, like happy pop songs. Then you just really get into Sad Girl Hour. And so following that theme, we have I Know the End by Phoebe Bridgers. So this song is on her newest album, Punisher, which was one of my most listened to albums this year. And it's just your perfect sad girl music. And I just like can't get enough of it. So I Know the End is the final song on the record, and it has a really beautiful build to the song and build up, and the end is her literally just screaming. And I just watched her Genius lyrics on it, and she kind of goes through the meaning of the song, and it's just about the end of the world and like this apocalyptic feeling and kind of what would happen. And it really does make me want to get in my car and just drive into the abyss. Like that's what it feels. Once the bridge hits, you're just like, I want to like slam on the gas and just drive into like the desert. But so good. And I think also it was just a song that I listened to a lot when I was feeling things this year. So next up we have Falling Asleep at the Wheel by Holly Humberstone, and she's a new artist I found this year. Incredibly talented. Every song she puts out I'm obsessed with. I think she's an EP out right now, so probably like 6 songs, but she's a really unique voice and really incredible songwriting, and so you need to hop on the Holly train this minute. And something about her just feels super fresh and super honest, and I literally can't stop listening to every single thing she puts out. So jump on that, start with Falling Asleep at the Wheel, then go to Overkill, then go to Deep End, and just, listen to her whole EP because it's really, really incredible. So next number I don't know is Dead Horse by Hayley Williams, but the Glass Animals remix. This, all the windows down, summer, driving my car around aimlessly, was how I spent most of my summer. This song pops off like no other. The original was one of my favorites on Petals for Armor by Hayley Williams, but then they put out this Glass Animals remix, and it just, like, they didn't have to go that hard, and they did. And I just really appreciate it. And I can't wait, years from now when the world opens up and I can go out again dancing. This song, dancing, find me on that dance floor, baby. I feel like a common thread between a lot of these songs were a lot of these remind me of the summer. I don't know if that's because this summer just felt like so long and kind of felt like the whole year. I don't really feel like winter hit until about like a month ago. That's also because when I was in Nashville, it's so warm there. It was like 80 degrees in the middle of October, so it always felt like summer. But I Can Hardly Speak by Bombay Bicycle Club. This album they put out, but most specifically this song, was the soundtrack of every single walk I took the first 2 months of quarantine. Every day, as we all did, I would go on a walk during my lunch. I was working from home, and every day I'd go on a walk around my neighborhood, and this song I would just have on a repeat, and especially this album. It's so good, and Bombay Bicycle Club is such a classic, and so I really, really, really enjoyed that song this year. Next up, we have Valerie by TV Girl. TV Girl is just a band that makes me feel a type of way. And TV Girl put out a record in 2014 called French Exit, and it is top to bottom so good. And they put out another, I would say probably EP album, I don't know, side project, called The Night in Question French Exit Outtakes. So, a bunch of B-sides from their French Exit album. And the song Valerie is just so good. And their music makes me feel like I'm the main character of a fiction novel who smokes cigs, and I'm like kind of mysterious, and maybe I live in like Paris or something. I don't know. But I just love this song and I love this vibe, and yeah, really loved that song this year. This episode feels really strange. I'm sorry if this is weird for anyone. I just haven't talked by myself in a really long time. So we only have a couple songs left. I'm sorry if you're sick of my voice. But next we have Gasoline by Haim, which Haim just does it for me in general. This album was such an anthem this summer, and it's called Women in Music Part 3. And like, yes, you're right, women in music. And Haim, I just like want them to adopt me as one of their sisters, and they're just so incredible and so fun. And this album, but most specifically Gasoline, was just on repeat so much this year. And another little cool antidote is that I don't remember the category. I think it's Best Rock Performance, but it's one of the rock categories for the Grammys this year are all women, and Haim is in that, and so is Phoebe, and that's just so awesome. I just love that, that's Haim always says women make the best rock music, and I can't argue that one. So that song was really great. Next, another lady who just really kept me company musically this year and also in person was my girl Gatlin. So Talking to Myself by Gatlin and I, which if you haven't listened to Gatlin and I's episode yet, you should go back and listen to it because we talk about this song and we talk about some of the stuff I'm about to say. But Gatlin and I met a couple years ago, and we don't hang out very often, but when we do, we like tell each other everything about our lives, like every deep emotion we've ever felt. And we also talk about boys a lot, and we've just been in so many similar situations, or like felt so many similar things because we feel things so intensely. And so I just feel like she reached into my brain and wrote a song from what she found. And I just think that's so incredible how well she can write things that are so relatable. And I, the first half of quarantine, I spent driving to work, and this song was often the first song I'd put on once I got in the car. So thank you, Gatlin, for keeping me company in the car for the 2 months that I drove to work. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. And if you don't listen to Gatlin, you have to check her out. Next is Casino by Ryan Beatty. This was one of my go-to sleep songs because it's really calming and I just love everything Ryan puts out. I have some like really funny stories about him back in the day. I was like a total fangirl of him back in like, I don't know, 2010, 2012. No, probably post 2012. Around then, I don't know. He like did music then disappeared, and now put out music that's totally different, and oh, it is so good. His first album, Boy in Jeans, whoo, so good. But then he put out his next album this year called Dreaming of David, and it's really beautiful and really well done. And Casino just makes me feel a lot of things, and it also really helps me sleep. So thanks, Ryan, for being my sleep aid for the year. And this second one is also cheating, but I can't have a list of my favorite songs without a song by Bon Iver. And I know he's made a couple appearances on this list with features, but Blood Bank, but the live version from Stockholm, technically was released on streaming services this year. So I am going to let myself use it. But Blood Bank, I'm not even kidding, has been my favorite song of all time for the last 10 years. And so it just has to be on this list because it will continue to be my favorite song for probably ever. I just love that song. And it reminds me of home. It reminds me of like being in the car with my sisters when I was super young, not because of the content of the song, just because we listened to it a lot in the car. And it's just really comforting to me. I really love that song. And the live version is, I mean, when he plays his song live, it's incredible. So the fact I get a version of that on streaming services is incredible. So thank you, Bon Iver, for being the soundtrack of my every year, honestly, but especially this year. And last but definitely not least is Iris, but the cover by Maggie Rogers and Phoebe Bridgers. Wow, who knew this song would shake us like it did? Phoebe, a little backstory if you don't know, Phoebe tweeted, I don't remember when, in kind of the height of election stuff, if Trump lost, she would cover Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, whatever. So, you know, the election comes, Joe Biden wins the election. And so everyone was like, okay, Phoebe, like, where's it going to be? Like, when do we get it? Whatever. So in the original tweet to Maggie Rogers responded and said something like, oh, let me do harmonies or background vocals or whatever. So then they ended up actually recording it and putting it out. They put it out for 24 hours on Bandcamp, and you could download it, and then they donated all the money to some charity, and it ended up hitting the like Billboard charts, which is insane. And the song really just blew the world away, and it's so well done, and I just can't believe they did that. That's such a funny story, and also just like what a wonderful idea. What a wonderful thing for so many reasons. Anyway, that was a lot of talking and probably a lot of nonsense and probably a lot of me repeating the same sentence of just being like, this was on repeat, haha. But that's it. That's my top songs of the year. And again, I just like want to thank everyone for listening to the podcast this year. This has been such a cool way for me to express myself and work on something creatively, there we go, for myself. And also been such a cool way. I've gotten so many cool messages of people being like, oh my gosh, like I never heard of this person, but now I'm listening to music and I can't stop. And I just really love being able to do that. And all the guests, honestly, that I had on the podcast this year were good friends of mine. And so it's really great to be able to share what they do because I'm so obsessed with all of them. So if you haven't, listen to all the episodes and you need something to do over your Christmas break, hit them up. They're really fun. And thank you also to all my guests who came on this year. I love you all so deeply. And everyone listening to this, you know how I end every episode. I'm in love with you. And if I don't know you, I'm probably still in love with you. So thank you everyone for being a part of my year in such a cool way. And I couldn't end this episode without at least a little guest appearance. So my sister is married and has 4 kids who I love so much. That whole family, love you. And the kids will listen to, my nieces and nephews will listen to the podcast on their way to school. So hi, Dockery and Edith. And I'll give Fritz and Margot a shout out, even though I know they're not in the car. So they listen to the podcast and they love it, which is really cute. And I'm so honored. So I asked them if they wanted to be guests on the podcast. So coming up right now is what I recorded with Dockery and Edith and my brother-in-law, Joseph. So I hope you enjoy. And again, thank you so much for joining me this year. And I can't wait to see what 2021 has to bring. Thanks, guys. Love you. I'm in love with you. Bye. Can you guys say your names?
My name's Dockery, and I'm 7 years old.
My name's Edith, and I'm 5 years old.
What is your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is a wolf.
My favorite animal is a dog and a giraffe.
Well, mine is a dog and a wolf.
Where do you guys live?
In St. Paul, Minnesota.
So, do you guys listen to Collective Sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite episode so far? Or what's your favorite part of Collective Sound?
The one with the...
2 boys.
Yeah.
The one where they beatbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with Nick and Will. That
Yeah.
one's really goofy.
I like it.
Yeah, that was my favorite too.
Does it feel like I'm in your car when you listen to it?
Yeah.
Is it kind of scary?
No.
Oh, it's not
love
scary.
I love it.
Oh, that's so kind. Can you guys tell me what your favorite song of the year was?
Oh,
Mine is Moana.
Moana?
Yeah.
Which song in Moana?
When Moana comes home.
When she comes home, can you sing part of it?
No.
Oh,
I
come on.
can't. I forget.
Dockery, what was your favorite song?
mine was Frozen 2.
Frozen 2. What song from Frozen
Okay.
2?
It was the one because every time we listen to it, Margot does
That's so silly. Oh
Uh,
my gosh, we have 2 more guests with us right now.
Oh, hi. I'm Joseph, or maybe more importantly, Dad, in this instance. And another guest. And
I want to talk.
Oh,
Hi.
what's your name again? I forgot it.
Fritz.
Okay, Fritz. Thank you. I didn't actually forget it. That was a joke.
Yeah.
I would never forget your name.
Fritz, what's your favorite animal?
Hyenas? No,
Stop it.
I like my favorite animal is an eagle.
An eagle.
Can
Okay.
Can you sing about sing?
Franz? Yeah, my name is Franz, and I am Piggy Power.
Yeah, do the one when you sing.
Okay.
The microphone got scared.
Oh, should we do the
That's
one
okay,
where he's
that's okay.
singing?
Yeah.
This is not from the Sing soundtrack. We just made this one. Oh, it's from a commercial. Oh. This is the U.S. Coast Guard. We're caught here. We're in a bad storm. We are definitely sinking. Can anyone hear us? Because we are sinking. Yeah. My name is Franz, and I am from the German Coast Guard, and I have one question for you. What are you thinking about?
Dad's got jokes.
Can you do that again?
Justin, listen. If you want to make something of yourself at some point in your life, I really recommend you go on Issa's podcast. It's going to be the start of something real for you.
I want to hear your voice.
Yeah. Anything else you have to tell him?
Bye.
Bye.
So Justin,
Bye.
ask Justin to come on the podcast so
Yeah,
we can
just-
hear it.
Please
Because
come on the podcast.
tell him we want to listen to him on the way to school.
We
Yeah,
want
we
to
wanna-
listen to you on the way to school. Yeah,